Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Pastor Al Crane from the Crowley Assembly of God Church. Thank you very much for coming out today. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you and we praise you for the privilege that we have together here today. We thank you for the freedom that we enjoy in this country. We thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you give us in this county. I pray, God, that you would just minister in this meeting today. God, that you would guide us by your Holy Spirit in every decision that is made, every comment that is made. Let us show the love, God, that you have given unto us, and let us be a blessing to all mankind. We give you praise and we give you honor, for you alone are worthy. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have two announcements as it relates to the agenda this morning. The first one is under criminal courts, which would be item 9D4. We're going to ask that we hold that particular item for 1 week. And then finally, members of the Court, under purchasing, item 9I3. This is RFO number 2013-025. We're going to also hold that for 1 week. Just a reminder to the court and to our county family that next Tuesday is going to be our last full court meeting for the month of December. We will have one additional meeting that will be abbreviated in nature at the end of the month, but next week is our last full meeting, and I believe the choir is coming next week. So
Absolutely.
Ought to be a great time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of November the 27th.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a couple of proclamations or a couple of recognitions presentations this morning. First, I'm going to call on Craig Maxwell to come up and to present the trophy for our 9th annual Tarrant County Employee Golf Tournament.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Craig.
I appreciate the opportunity to come before you today to present the winners with this year's county trophy. This year's tournament was held at Texas Star Golf Club. The weather was very nice, the fellowship was great, and the turnout was outstanding. Before I get to the winners, I would like to thank some of those who helped make this possible. Miss Ann Farmer, Mark Mendez, Jim Duff, Doug Black, and the Tarrant County Credit Union for all the work that they've done to make this a very special event. Just as a note from the tournament, this year's noteworthy event was that we had a record number of ladies playing this year's tournament, which was very nice. It's always nice to have them to sort of offset the gentlemen in their behavior sometimes. So before I get to the overall winners, there was a significant accomplishment. This year's winner of the Hogan Flight was led by Mr. Manius, which was the 3rd year in a row he has won the coveted Hogan Flight.
What is that? The ones at the old? Is that the Hogan Flight? Is that the old age flight?
It's usually the ones that attend the beverage cart more than the others,
Oh, okay.
usually.
Was it laser guided?
All right. A word about the trophy. The trophy was donated by the credit union during our first year, so I really appreciate what they do. They work the registration, and they really help out a lot during the day of the tournament, so I really appreciate what they do. The trophy is held by the winners for 1 year. They get their name engraved on here, so forever immortalized with their accomplishments. This year's winners, Mr. Peter Hinojosa, who is the third time he has won this event, Mr. Fred Erickson and Mr. Doug Black, the second time that they have won this event, and Mr. Michael Schroeder, his first time to appear in the winner's circle. So congratulations to them.
I'd like to say one thing. First of all, I'd like to thank the county commissioner, board, and the credit union for being continued support behind the golf tournament. Their support is the keystone of this golf tournament. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Craig Maxwell, Mark Mendez, Doug Black, and Jim Duff, and all the other committee members on the golf of their hard work and leadership. And I would like to also congratulate all the other winners and runners-up in the tournament. And I would like to especially thank my team members, Doug Black, two of them can't be here, Peter Hinojosa and Mike Schroeder. And we truly played as a team in order to achieve our score of 60. And lastly, we as a team want to dedicate this trophy to our team member and retiree Bill West, because he's recovering from cancer surgery and he couldn't play with us this year. And we'd like to wish him the best, and everybody keep him in his prayers. Thank you.
The next thing I would like to do is we just completed our United Way campaign, and we're still tabulating the numbers. We talked a little bit a couple of weeks ago about public health and what they were doing. I believe we have a presentation from a penguin. See, there's all kinds of little things involved with the United Way campaign this year. Would you like to make some comments there?
Well, it was a challenge in the Community Development Division that if we would raise a certain amount of funds for United Way, that I would dress like a penguin. Well, first they said a clown or a penguin. I asked the people in the department, I said, so which would you care for, a clown or a penguin? They said, well, you dress like a clown every day, so why don't you be a penguin? So here I am. And I thought, man, that's just going to be terrible. But then I thought, if the judge made a wager with some of the others that, if he could wear a Hogs hat or a Arkansas T-shirt,
Which I haven't had to do.
this isn't so bad. So, here I am. But anyway, Tarrant County Community Development raised $1,506, which is the most we've ever raised in our department. And I'm here to present you the pledge.
Well, I'll come down there
in cash.
and let Ann get a picture with me and the penguin. say that, like I said, we're still accumulating some of the totals, so I don't know who's buying who lunch up here yet. But the IT department nearly quadrupled what they have contributed in the past. They came up with a final total. No, we haven't gotten the final total. Last year, though, I better read this right or I'm going to be in trouble. Their final total this year was over $10,000.
Whoa.
So again, we're very excited about that, and I truly appreciate everybody who has helped, and we're anxiously awaiting our final total and seeing whether I get to whether Tarrant County wins this year over Fort Worth or not. So
Now, when will we get this final tally?
So those of you who have not turned in your final reports yet, please do so, and so that we can wrap this up, and maybe we'll celebrate it. It probably won't be next week, so it may be the first of our first meeting in January.
I'm waiting until all of y'all turn yours in.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little worried about these last-minute checks that may come rolling in from this deal, but not worried enough that I might not add to it.
Y'all all cheat.
Again, thank y'all all very much for that. One other thing, recently in the 2012 Fort Worth Attorneys, Texas top list of attorneys, we had several of our folks who were represented there and who were mentioned there. In the tax office, Jim Pritchard was there with being recognized. In the DA's office, we had Marvin Collins, Ann Diamond, and Aaron Coffer there. So congratulations to all of y'all. As you see those folks around, be sure and congratulate them and let them know that we do appreciate them. And then during the election process, several years ago, as I recall, probably at the urging of Mr. Gary Terry, we put AEDs in all of our facilities. And a lot of that came as a response, as a result of Gary's work. It came more after he had started that and had actually had one placed in the Austin airport, and then, or had been a reason for them placing one in the Austin airport. And then on a trip home one evening, he walked through the security and collapsed. And it was that AED that he had been part of helping to get placed that saved his life. Well, on October the 25th, at around 3:30 in the afternoon at our Tarrant County Election Center, Miss Rena Brown collapsed. Would you please stand up, Miss Brown? And at that point in time, so now you know there's a happy ending to this story, because she is standing up. At that time, Donna McClung, Miles Younger, and Melly Herman, y'all stand up, really kind of sprang into action and didn't wait for somebody else to do that. Donna ran and grabbed the AED and placed it on Rena, did exactly what we're supposed to do, let the machine determine whether or not it needs to be delivered, or whether it needs to deliver the shock. It said yes, she did. Also, Miles at that time started chest compressions, and Melly did the rescue breathing. A few minutes later, someone asked Rena if she could hear us, and she opened her eyes, and everything was well. Within a matter of minutes, the people from MedStar, and I know we have representatives, I think Doug Hooten and Matt, well, I'm getting an early start here, Zavitsky, yeah, who I think are represented here. In the two, now, were y'all the ones in the ambulance? So everyone, came. There was, again, thanks to the quick action of everyone, Rena is here with us today, and so y'all all come forward. And I believe that, Jeff, you're going to present something to Donna, Miles, and Melly.
we have a Community Hero Lifesaver Award for Miles, Donna, and Melly for the great work that they did, and we are very glad that Rena is here with us, and it was through their efforts. I mean, Rena was pretty much fine by the time we got there, and we just wanted to recognize these folks for their actions, but also the county for having the foresight to put these devices in all of their county facilities, make sure folks are trained how to use them, and also encourage the county and anyone who might be a part of this process or have the ability to do it to let us and others in the community teach more folks how to do CPR, put more AEDs out in the community, because as Rena can attest to standing here before you, it makes a huge difference in patient outcomes. So congratulations to these three folks for their heroic actions in saving Millie's life.
You know, this is really what it is all about, and it's helping people. And it's, you know, sometimes as we sit and we make budget decisions, we're not sure what impact they have on the lives of our citizens and the lives of the folks that we come in contact with. It certainly makes those decisions much more, impact us much more as we see, and we have an opportunity every once in a while to see a specific example of how those decisions make. And again, I want to thank the three of you who didn't just stand there and say, golly, let's let somebody else step in and jump in and do something, but jumped right in and did that. And thank you very much. And Rena, we're very glad to have you here today. Thank you. She was volunteering. I believe you were volunteering in one of our, at the elections, weren't you, at that point in time? Well, thank you again. Thank you very much. Now we come to the time of the month where we recognize our employees for their years of service. And before I get started, and I know that, you know, we can't do this for everyone, and, you know, I wish we could, but it just so happens that this week we have several people retiring this week. Ron Bertel. Ron, stand up. Ron's been with the county for over 25 years. I think, is it Friday or is it tomorrow? Friday is your last day. They're going to have a little celebration for you tomorrow. I know that Tommy Knowles, I believe, is retiring at the end of this week. I'm going to forget Delbert, I think. Delbert is retiring. I'm sure there are several other of you who are here retiring. Thank you, Ron, for your years of service. We're going to miss you. In many different ways. And so we just appreciate very much the time that you've given us. Is Tommy out there? I thought he might be here because he's got a brother who is celebrating. We'll get to that in a few minutes. You know the routine. I hope you know the routine by now. We're going to go with 5 years first. We're going to call your name. You're going to, or what sounds like your name. You're going to stand up. Like I said last month, you know whether you're a 5, a 10, or 15. When I get to that section, you know it's alphabetical. So if you think that I am at your point in the alphabet and it doesn't sound like your name, go ahead and stand anyway. It'll make it a whole lot easier on all of us, and I won't take near as much of abuse as I already take on this thing. Starting with the 5-year employees. Our first is Philip Adams, the Sheriff Auto Task Force. Welcome. Teresa Aguilar, Public Health. Nope. Keep standing. All right. Candace Bryan, Tax Office. Glenn Burton, Sheriff Courts. Michael Shane Doss, Sheriff Confinement. Rebecca Ellinger, Sheriff Booking. Teresa Eskridge, Juvenile Services. Casey Fickus, District Attorney's Office. Antonio Gamboa, Sheriff, Courts. Winfred Love, Sheriff, Booking. Dina Madrid, Juvenile Services. Daryl McGuire, Facilities Management. Karen Miller, Public Health. Kara Mordecai, Tax Office. Benny Murphy, Sheriff, Warrants. Marianne Owens, Tax Office. Jennifer Parrish, Public Health. Andrea Reisinger, District Attorney's Office. Tomasita Sanchez, Public Health. Cynthia Smith, Human Resources. Okay, you know who you are. Anton Supokovic. Okay. Now let me hear your version of how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Supercover.
James Woods, Sheriff, Confinement. Let's give these 5-year employees a hand. JD's told me I can never be gone on the first Tuesday of the month.
That's right.
Now for our 10-year employees. Christopher Barney, Sheriff, Booking. Mark Blake, County Clerk's Office. James Castillo, Information Technology. Patricia Davis, Sheriff, Confinement. David Harmon, Sheriff, North Patrol. Linwood Joyner, Information Technology. Alma McCarthy, Public Health. Rebecca McMath, Public Health. Yamis Mitchell, Sheriff, Investigations. Daryl Northcutt, Sheriff, Confinement. Maria Olvera, Public Health. I know this one. Natalie Plunk, the Judge's Office. Jason Scott, Sheriff, Confinement. And Jose Yabera, Sheriff, Booking. These are our 10-year employees. Let's present them. Now for our 15-year employees. Anita Bassick, District Attorney's Office. Barbara Brenham, District Attorney's Office. Donna Coleman, Tax Office. Amy Cullum, District Attorney's Office. Daniel Corsell, Information Technology. Cortland Fowler, Sheriff, Confinement. Jeanette Griltz, County Clerk's Office. Did I get close? Perfect. I doubt that. Sandra Martin, Tax Office. Francis Miller, Public Health. Kelly Mosley, Probate Court Number 1. Chris Peterson, Information Technology. Daryl Tennyson, Precinct 1 Maintenance. Catherine Zimmerman, Public Health. These are our 15-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Thank y'all. Now for our 20-year employees. Carol Boffman, Sheriff, Communications. Deborah Benzner, County Criminal Court Number 5. Judge Kimberly Brown, 323rd Court. Albert Garza, Election Administration. Michael Hardy, Precinct 4 Maintenance. Dolores Stevens, Elections Administration. Savala Swanson, Facilities Management. You've probably heard a few times before that you look a lot like your father.
Absolutely. Yes.
Melinda Swetman, Elections Administration. Daniel Trujillo, Facilities Management. Paul Tucker, Sheriff's Courts. Let's give these 20-year employees a big hand. And now for our 25-plus year employees, I've called and talked with these individuals, and for most, it's the second time around. It is amazing how quickly the 5 years has gone by. Our first employee is Mike Castro, the sheriff with the Sheriff's Department. Been there 25 years. There's Mike. Started out in the Belknap location and was there for about 13 years. Moved to the courts and for a while was transporting prisoners to the outlying courts, and is now working security at the courts. When I asked him about his more memorable moments 5 years ago, all he would do is laugh, but he wouldn't tell me one. And after, when I'd been doing this for a couple of times and I told a few of the stories, then people clammed up. They no longer tell me what they were laughing about. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was the friendships that he'd had a chance to make. He said, over the years, many of the people who I've worked with have retired and moved on, but that he still enjoyed the job and that it was really a great place to work. He, like many of the folks, really doesn't like this when we recognize them individually and talk about them. He said that his kids have grown up and they're kind of out of house at this point in time, but he said, I just still love working for the county. Mike, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Charles Chambers with the Sheriff's Department in the Warrants area. Has been with the county for 25 years. Started off in the Belknap facility, was in transportation for a while, and then in the release area. Was in patrol and did accidents investigations there, and warrants, was a fugitive officer there, and then also has been kind of a training officer for over 15 years. When I asked him about his more memorable moments, he said, well, I'll have to say that I'm glad that he's not doing automobile accidents or accident investigations anymore. But he said, the thing that I have enjoyed doing, and it's really been a pride, is the time that he's been able to spend as a training officer and the work that he's been able to do there. When I asked him what he liked most, again, he said, it's the people that I've had a chance to work with, the security of the job, and then really being able to work and to train other folks as they come into the Sheriff's Department. Charles, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Stephanie Coulomb with the IT area. Stephanie started out as really in the district clerk's office, always been there, and was in that IT office as we moved everybody, or in the district clerk's office as we moved everybody over into IT. She said, I really have enjoyed working for the county. I enjoy the people that I've had a chance to work with over the years, the stability of the job. She said, it's just been a great place to work and to be a part of. Stephanie, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given Tarrant County. Thank you. Even if you have had to work with Wilder for as many years. Next is Camille Holland with the Auditor's Office, 25 years. Camille started out, and there were certain things in here she says, now you don't need to repeat this again from 5 years ago. She says, I got in trouble the last time you said some of this stuff. She started out, I won't tell. Started out in the auditor's office when there was a new general ledger system being put in. Basically has, at that time, all was being done through checking accounts. They're really, now we have, one financial manager, and it, things are working well. When I asked her about the memorable moments, she said helping put in 3 new systems that have been installed while she's been here, and then also working with Judge Vandergriff on some of the projects while he was here. When I asked her what she liked most, it was the people. She said, the people have been very helpful. It really is a family atmosphere. When I talked with her, she said, at that time, I think you said, when she first came with the county, she expected to be here a couple of years. See, I'm forgetful. Some of this stuff we talked about 5 years ago, and some of it we talked about recently. She had only expected to be here for a couple of years, and so many people I talk with say this was kind of a stopping point. They'd come here, they were going to be here for a couple of years, and then they were going to move on, and 25 years later, she's still here. She says, I absolutely love public accounting, and she said, I just can't imagine working anywhere else. When last we talked, she wasn't sure she'd still be here when we got to this point. One of her sons is in Ecuador with the State Department. He got married about 3 years ago, and then one is a chef in Dallas. And so the family continues to go and to be a part of all of our lives. Camille, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Joe Underwood, Sheriff's Department, 25 years.
Not here. Here he is.
Well, I was expecting to say, he works in this building on Tuesday, so I know he's around here someplace. Started in the jail, really has worked in all the facilities, had moved to the academy. He now works in the judicial area, and this is obvious, on Tuesdays he's over here helping with Commissioner's Court. When I asked him about some memorable stories, he said working in the jail for the time that he did was full of stories. He recounted the fact that when the jail went to a direct supervision type of an approach, that really changed a whole lot of things over in the jail. He said, I have seen the department continue to become more and more professional over the years. When I asked him what he liked most, he mentioned that it was the people that he had a chance to work with, that it was the job, the security of the job, the benefits. He said, I enjoyed working and training, his time in training. He said, because I got to watch new people come in and for them to really to get invested with the county and to really begin to understand what the county was all about. Joe, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Now, next is Curtis Knowles. There's Curtis. Curtis started out with the county when he was in high school, and he was actually a temp, I guess, for about 18 months, and then came to work full-time. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, I love the fact that I get to work with the different cities on a regular type basis. The people that he had a chance to work with, he said Tarrant County has really been a great place to work. When last we talked, he said, I think I have about 3 years left to retirement. Now, that was 5 years ago. His brother, Tommy, works in Precinct 3 as the head of maintenance there, and he's retiring, as I mentioned earlier, he's retiring this Friday. Now, Curtis said 5 years ago, and he reiterated again, that he was the younger and the better looking of the two brothers. I asked him when I talked with him this week that I said, okay, you said you were probably going to be gone in 3 years. He said, well, Commissioner Brooks convinced me to stay. And he said, over the years I've had a chance to work with three different commissioners, none more dedicated, he said, than Commissioner Brooks. So that ought to be worth at least something. You can pay me afterwards for that. He said, I really enjoy working with and for people. When I asked him, I said, okay, now give me your forecast. He said, well, I think I may be around for another another 8 to 9 to 10 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And now I don't know whether that sounded good or not. Maybe you're not going to be around. Maybe you're not going to be around for another. He said he was still the younger and the better looking of the two brothers. Curtis, we appreciate very, very much the years you've given. 30 years you've given. Again, we have represented 800 years of service in the folks that we've recognized. This really is such a great time for me each month. We kid about it. We kid about how I mispronounce your names. I wished I could pronounce every one of them perfectly because you do such great work for this county and for the citizens of this county and for the people who work in this county. It really is a family. We've seen it. We see how you spring to action to encompass folks when they're having a time of sorrow or a time of need, and to celebrate with them when they have times of happiness. So again, thank you for doing that. Thank you for constantly focusing on making your job not a job, but more of a career and a passion in serving each person you come in contact. Whether it be someone in the jail, whether it be someone looking for some service to help them through a particularly needy time in their lives, or whether it be just helping them to fulfill one of the requirements that things, registering your car, paying your taxes, whatever, you make them feel like that they're important, and that goes such a long way to making this a great place to live and to work and to raise a family. So thank you. And y'all have a good holiday. We're going to recess, or we're not going to recess. We're just going to kind of pause for a moment. And we got refreshments back in 504C. I hope. Tell you what, some of those names just.
the money go?
Board members, you have before you the consent agenda with the 2 items that we're holding for a week.
Move approval with the exception of those 2 items.
Second.
Our motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 3 additional items to bring to you this morning. First one, we're requesting that the court approve and sign an order which prohibits the outside burning within the unincorporated areas of Tarrant County for a period of 90 days from today's date or until this order is repealed by the Commissioners Court.
Move approval.
Second.
Our motion is second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do. How does this affect fireworks? Maybe it bans them too.
No.
Unfortunately not.
Commissioner, this doesn't affect fireworks. It's, the issue with fireworks would be a restriction of limited fireworks, which are the rockets on sticks and missiles with fins, which are not a high-priority item that's sold anymore. It's an older type law that's on the books. This mainly deals with any type of outdoor burning as far as the brush, the leaves, and things like that homeowners do.
Can you update me a little bit on the procedure for fireworks? Because if we're in the same condition, we're in a day, this carries forward, we haven't had any rain. What's the procedure? Nothing? Just happens?
Well, no, sir. No, sir, it's not. I'm trying to say it exactly right. What we have done in the past when we were under a state disaster declaration and a county disaster declaration was the judge and the court issued an executive order prohibiting the use of any type of combustible material to be burned in the county, which basically did away with fireworks and any other kind of outdoor burning. We did that because our conditions were extremely severe at the time. Our conditions aren't like they were back in 2000, I want to say 7 when we did that, along with, I believe there were 17 or 18 other counties that limited the use. We didn't limit the sale, but we limited the use of fireworks at that time.
We can't limit the sale. We can simply limit the use. Is that correct?
I know we can do the use of them, Your Honor. Some counties did limit the sale, but I believe we all 17 or 18 counties that did it back in I think 2006 or 7 were sued by the fireworks manufacturers federally and state, but there were some that were also sued because they limited the sale of fireworks. That would probably have to be more of a...
Doesn't it have to hit a certain fire index before we can do that?
Part of the law says dealing with in the times when the drought index is useful. In the wintertime, drought index is not useful because it measures a lot of different things that aren't there during the wintertime because of the dry, dead, cured grass. Also, if you do the executive order and limit the sale or the use of fireworks, you can do it for up to 60 hours, which gives the court time to appeal to the governor's office to ask the governor to extend that extension of that executive order during that time. That's in the local government code 418.
Let us do this. Let us confirm with our attorneys, and let's bring you a full report back next Tuesday on this.
We're talking about fireworks. Here we're talking about burning.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we are going to, I do envision us going ahead and putting a burn ban on, but I think Commissioner Fickles was also focused on what we might be able to do with regards to fireworks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they can't start selling that until 2 weeks before the first?
They start selling it on December the 20th. And the deadline for the court to do the restricted fireworks, which is the rockets on sticks, missiles with fins, I believe the deadline on it is the 15th, because the law says that you have to give them 5 days' notice before they can start selling, which most all of them have bought their fireworks by then.
You know, there are certain conditions that have to be present for us to do that.
Yes, sir.
Certain-
And
That's what you're going to outline to us next week and bring forward at that point in time.
And to also kind of address your question, Commissioner, what we've seen work real well in the past when we're not in the severe drought conditions like we had in the past is our office and some of the fire departments, we've tried to work with the media to get information out to the people to talk about, what the conditions are, why, this time of year is critical and what to do and what not to do. We try to be proactive about that.
When the 16, 17, 18 counties did the restricted fireworks use back in 06 or 07, and the lawsuits ensued, did we win, lose, or settle?
Thank goodness we're going to have a meeting on this next week, because I don't remember. There were 3 different types of lawsuit, as I recall. There were people who restricted the sale, and I think they didn't fare as well as others did. And we were not one that restricted sale, if I recall
We
correctly.
just have had some very, very scary experiences in, obviously to the west, and go talk to the people in Bastrop, it's just devastating number of homes, and we got a lot of areas of the county that are heavily wooded and receive no moisture significant time.
You're right, sir. Yes, sir. We can look at it.
Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Ms. McMillan is going to do items 2 and 3.
Judge Commissioners, as you recall, a few weeks back, we brought these 2 boundary changes for the Fort Worth TIF number 7 and 10 to you for briefing. We're asking today that you consider approving amendment number 1 to the participation agreement between the City of Fort Worth and Tarrant County for Fort Worth Tax Increment Financing Zone number 7, which provides for the expansion of the TIF Zone 7 boundaries. Again, the cap on the TIF stays the same, so the financial obligation is not changed. It only allows us now to pay increment on the land that is added into that. So in a sense, the cap will be reached sooner.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
In the communication, you put the maximum contribution of $10,644.
It should have been $10 million.
So you might want to correct that.
Didn't get caught. It's $10,644,000.
I just noticed. Sorry.
Any other discussion? So then, we have a motion and a second on the motion as changed. Indicate 10 million versus.
The motion was to expand the boundaries of the TIF.
The motion is to approve the agreement.
Everything else remains the same.
It's just background information.
Okay. All right. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And then the next item is approval of amendment number 1 to the participation agreement between the City of Fort Worth and Tarrant County, and also amendment number 1 to the participation agreement between the City of Fort Worth and Tarrant County Hospital District for the expansion of the boundaries of TIF 10, which is the Lone Star TIF, the Cabela's. This was the one where there was a donut where the area within that TIF had been part of unincorporated Tarrant County, and then once they annexed it, they added into the boundaries. Again, the cap remains the same. All it is we pay increment on that land that is added.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is your swan song?
I guess. Interesting that this item is for action on my last court. We're seeking approval of authorization to execute documents to amend the county authorized representatives with the various Texas local government investment pools. There is a certain employee in the auditor's office is retiring, and this will remove that certain employees from being able to conduct business from tropical or other locations and replace him with Mr. Maxwell. So we would request that that be approved so we can move forward.
So if we don't approve this, he stays?
No, he doesn't approve this. He still has the authority to move money with him to tropical locations.
Or others. I mean, it could be
With
domestic.
congratulations on your future endeavors, I move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Again, thank you, Ron. Ms. Snyder.
Risk Management Board is recommending the payment of 4 claims that are listed on your court communications. They are to Emily Osborne, Gonzalez Trucking, Rudy Ramon, and Harold Sauls. Amounts are listed on your communication.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Ms. Clem.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 6 items for the court this morning. The first item, we're asking the court to receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Receive and file personnel agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Second item, we're asking the court to approve an out-of-class pay extension for facilities management. As explained in your court communique, we have a ground supervisor who's assumed the responsibilities of building manager. The cost of this out-of-class pay request, if approved, is $439. That will be charged to the Resource Connection Fund.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Next item is also the approval of an out-of-class pay extension for Precinct 1. Fiscal impact to the Road and Bridge Fund is approximately $11,600, which will be more than offset by salary savings over the same time period of more than $30,000.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item 4, another approval of an out-of-class pay extension for public health. Let's see if I can follow my notes. We're looking at a fiscal impact to the public health fund of a little bit more than $2,000. The out-of-class pay extension, if approved, will end March 15th, 2013.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item 5, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for Constable Precinct 3. Constable Huffman is requesting this waiver of 400 vacation hours effective January 1st. The fiscal impact to the Road and Bridge Fund to the general fund will be approximately $13,452. I've got to get myself some glasses. Excluding fringe benefits, the constable is here. Constable Huffman is replacing Constable Hilger.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So what are we doing?
We're asking the court to approve waiver of terminal benefits.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, what?
Who's
no
leaving?
longer a-
This is for, the waiver is for Delton Thrasher, who's leaving county service at the end of this month. He's going to be retiring.
Right. Okay, so he's retiring. The new constable's wanting to hire somebody, and just go ahead and waive that.
So
But it's the new constables is agreeing with all of this.
Yes. I've spoken with him several times.
Okay.
I thought he would be here, but guess not.
Any other questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our sixth and final item, we're asking the court to approve the annually defined contribution rate to the Texas County and District Retirement System. You do have a court communique with attachments in your folders there or in your laptops. You recall a couple of weeks ago we had representatives from TCDRS here. They did a very good job with the presentation. We are asking the court for action today, and specifically what we're asking for is approval of the 2013 rate, which is estimated to be 13.84. That'll be our contribution rate for 2013. And just as a reminder, we are not proposing any plan changes. So the plan just as it is, 13.84% next year. The other item we're asking the court for a decision on today is whether or not the court wishes to approve a COLA, a cost of living adjustment for our retirees. If you recall from a couple of weeks ago, the court has two options. You can either select a COLA based upon the CPI, which as you recall was 2.96, or you can approve a flat rate COLA. And in your documents, if you take a look at Exhibits B and C, first Exhibit B shows the choices of a 50, 60, or 80% COLA. And if you look at your current plan column from a couple of weeks ago, if you just sort of follow that column down, you'll pick up on the 13.84%. That's the 2013 rate. So if the court is interested again in the 50, 60, or 80% COLA, you can see the impact to that rate if we choose not to pre-fund, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. You skip to Exhibit C. If you turn to Exhibit C, you'll see the resulting impact to the 13.84% rate if a court wants to consider a 1, 2, or 3% flat rate COLA. If the court is interested in pre-funding or advance funding these options, you'll see those costs outlined in Exhibits D and E. And hopefully you should have your E. Exhibit D shows the cost for the CPI COLAs, 50, 60, 70, 80%. So if we want to advance, pay, pre-fund, those are your costs. Exhibit E, same information, cost information for the 1, 2, or 3% flat rate increases. As a reminder, TCDRS does need our decisions by December 17th. If there are any dollars to be sent to TCDRS, those must be received by 12/31.
So if we were to choose the 50% of COLA, because the cost of living has been so small over the last 2 years, this is one of those instances where the catch-up for not doing anything last year would still not impact us as much as giving the lowest flat rate that we could give.
Correct.
And in any one of those instances under the lump sum, so for, again, back to the, I guess, the 50% example, if we gave a 50% of COLA increase, then it would, if we paid $2.951 million, we would not affect our rate, and it wouldn't have a future impact on that because we will have taken care of that.
That's correct.
And that money is budgeted.
We budgeted 5, I guess, from that perspective.
I believe what's budgeted is, and Debbie will correct me if I'm incorrect, I think she's fast looking it up, but I believe what we understand what's been budgeted is the 13.84%, of course, and then I believe, bless you, I believe what's budgeted in addition to that is 0.3%.
Correct. So it gives you an option between
On your
either.
mic, go.
I'm sorry, I am back. That's Jim Douglas. It gives you option of either 50 or 80% CPI or a flat rate of basically 1%.
How much does the 0.3% amount to?
Good question. Might have had that with me last week.
I believe I have it, Debbie. Well,
Would it be 0.3% of the 226 million that they're estimating for
Yes.
our salaries? So that'd be
I thought I
about
had that, I
6 million? No, it would be about 600.
So if we were to adopt the 13.84 with the 50% COLA and prepay that, there is no compounding effect as we go forward.
That's what I'm hearing them tell me.
that's correct.
Is that correct?
And by compounding effect, Commissioner, are you asking about the impact to the unfunded liability? Is that your,
Yeah, an impact on our rates in future years.
what I,
That's what they're telling, no, they're saying that it, I mean, that's what they're saying.
That's what he
I want
just
to be
said.
sure.
That's why I asked, so I
Now,
can be sure.
did you say it was 0.3%? Because 0.3% is only $678,000.
Correct. And what we budgeted was 14.14%.
Ah,
And what it came out to was 13.84.
right.
Correct.
So it's not
Before
0.3, it's
before
3, so it's really only $67,000.
That's on it today. That's one time, next fiscal year, based on salaries.
Right.
The real cost, obviously, is in the projected cost to those retirees in the future.
And I guess, and I'm trying to think through again, if we put 2.9 million up, which is what they're suggesting here, for a half of the CPR, for the half of the COLA, what that says is that money will be enough to cover that increase through the life expectancy of everybody who's currently retired.
That one action.
yes.
It is not, it will not add to our unfunded liability.
Yeah, so
I'd like to try a motion to see where we end up.
go right ahead.
And that is that we adopt the required rate of 13.84% with a 50% CPI COLA that we pre-fund.
That's a motion.
That is the motion.
And the pre-fund is $2,951,000.
Correct.
That's second, and Debbie, we do have in our budget, in the undesignated, an amount of $5 million.
And it's actually in a separate account designated for retirement payoff funding.
Okay. So we could, if we did this, if we did what Commissioner Brooks has moved, then we have that money budgeted, and actually that would still give us about $2 million left over that if we decided we want to do something else between now and the end of the fiscal year. We don't have to do anything between now and the calendar year, but we can have to do something between now and the fiscal year.
Well, we couldn't do anything else on this retirement, could we?
No.
Not on your election day.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or discussion? Please vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Mr. Beecham, I was supposed to say I didn't see you wearing that jacket, so.
Your Honor.
And I understand you got by last week and didn't even have to come up. Put that jacket on.
I tried to get it on that parrot, and he wouldn't wear it this morning.
Parrot, that was a penguin.
Oh,
It's an Arizona, Harkins.
Chick-fil-A guy or whatever.
It may have been a parrot in Arkansas, but it's a penguin most other places.
I will acknowledge that
Are y'all playing in a bowl game this year?
I can tell you which one we're not playing in.
Oh, there's
Not
a
even the
lot.
Gopher Bowl in Grand Prairie.
You're getting a new coach, aren't you?
Thank goodness we only have one item for your consideration this morning. It's an item in regards to RFQ 2013-012 for HVAC testing, adjustment, balance, and commissioning services for the Northeast Support House project. We're seeking approval from the court to negotiate with the air balancing company for this project.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Just want to relish the moment here for a second.
You really
We
ought
had
to
one
put
with a
it
sack
on.
on his head up here.
Yeah, I know. I heard about the sackless, or the sack head.
We never knew who he was.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Probably the best smell you've had up in that office.
Getting too personal.
Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have an item.
I have an interlocal agreement. Let me guess that it's 9L1 A and B.
That would be a good assumption.
Approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Appointments.
We do have some TIF appointments, don't we?
I see that, and I'm going to take that as a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Brooks
You got it.
to approve the appointments. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Do y'all have copies of
Clerk
those?
have a copy, okay.
We've got the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Earlier, I think as I was announcing in Ron's retirement, I mentioned that his party was tomorrow. It's actually today, so if anybody was planning on showing up and they've decided to wait till tomorrow, don't do that. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
No, we took care of all the briefing items last week.
We don't have anything else today, Judge.
Well, I want to again thank Commissioner Johnson for overseeing everything, and I understand you were going along pretty well until you got to the briefing items last week.
Absolutely, we were.
And then it got a little lengthy.
Bogged us down every time you're gone.
I have to work at finding things to do that. At this time, we will recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under sections 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government.
Yeah. Starts at 2.
Having returned from our closed meeting and there being no business to conduct at this time, we stand adjourned.